Hey everyone. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. And also, I know it's a third presentation of the day, so I will try to really keep it like interesting and short. So yeah, as Marcin said, I don't want to really focus on the product that LightApply offers today. It's not really the goal of the presentation. I would like to focus more on the road itself and how it went to start a startup, how it went to look for investors, how it went to basically launch the product to the market, talk to customers, and learn how many mistakes we did on the way to get there. So basically, as I was listening to the presentations that we had today, I have a feeling that it's pretty similar to the startups that are out there. So basically, the product is usually different, the market is usually different, even the business model that you're following is usually different. But the way that you have to follow is usually somehow similar. And there are definitely some points that will arise on the way that you will be fighting with the business itself. And this is like what I want to talk about today. And there is a reason why I want to do it. So there is a quote that I really like from Hans Rosling, Factfulness book. It's a great book, by the way. So Hans said, if you look down from the top of the skyscraper, you can't really tell the buildings that are down there apart. It's hard to say even which one is higher, which one is lower. They look all the same. And I like to think about the person who is standing like on the ground level and they are having the same problem. It's really hard to tell the buildings that are up there apart. They all seem so high and hard to reach that you cannot imagine that you can get to the top. And it's exactly the same with startups. When you are founding a startup and you're looking at Booksy, you are looking at Znane, you're looking at Informatica and so on, you are thinking, how did they get to the point that they are getting like millions of dollars in investments? They have hundreds of people on board. They have customers like the biggest brands in the market. And how to get to the point when we are starting as 1, 3, 5 people team to get to the point that you have millions of income every month. And this is basically the story about that. And the reason is Informatica. So I met Piotr, who is the founder and CEO of Informatica a couple of times already. And he's always telling a story how it went to build Informatica. And he's always saying, yeah, first 5 years, they were quite hard. So we didn't get any customers back then. But after 5 years, we got Allianz and it went great. And I'm always like, hey, like I'm running my startups 2, 3, 4 years. I'm not even at the point of 5 years and I'm already tired. And you're saying, yeah, like 5 years, forget about it. So I want to tell you the story of this 5 years. So basically in our case, 4 years, and what is happening on the way, and what is the pace that you can expect from the startup to go, what you can have, and what you can achieve. So I divided it into 4 chapters. And the first one is crazy one, so let's build a startup. And basically how the story started in our case, I was involved in the startup world since 2016. I was working in a big startup based in Berlin. We had like 15 million euro of investments. We had customers like Deutsche Bahn, Volkswagen, Bosch, and so on. So I was like on the skyscraper, and I was always like, €500,000 euro of investment, like that's easy, right? And I was a product manager back then, and then COVID came in 2020, and we left our startup quite fast. So we were basically let go by like 50 people one day. And we said, okay, like we have a great team of people which we had in the startup. Like we were employees, so we were not like connected to this product. And we were like, let's try to build something on our own. So we said, let's grab some people. We like chosen 3 of us. So I was like on the product and business side. I had a co-founder from sales, and I had a co-founder like the technical one. And we were like, yeah, that's the dream team to build a product. We know B2B market. Let's build the startup. And Kasia said, like, it's hard to sit on the couch and say what it's gonna be. And we did exactly this thing. We sat on the couch,
For a couple of weeks, every day we were sitting on a couch and we were brainstorming, what can we build? And we came up with an idea. So we've built a hypothesis, like the better named guess. So we said, okay, when we are looking right now for a job as candidates, nobody is getting back to us. It's super annoying. So we are sending dozens of CVs and no one is responding. And it will harm these companies as well, because in the future, if we are looking for a job, I won't send my CV to this company again because I don't want to work with them. Like, they were ignoring me. I don't want to go back. So we said, let's build a product that will automate the communication between them. So I will tell you, hey, we are not interested right now. Thank you very much for sending the application. And that was the product, basically. So HR B2B platform for IT, mostly companies, but like HR departments. The market is huge. Everyone is investing in that. That's the worst case scenario that you can get. But how it went, like, to build a product, we came up with hypothesis in May. We started doing surveys, the worst ones that you can imagine. So the questions were asked in a way that you could not basically say, yeah, you are right. So we were asking, do you have a problem when no one is responding to your CVs when you're sending them? Like, of course I have a problem with that, right? But we were not asking if it's a main problem that you have. Maybe the main problem is that you're not finding a job, but we were asking the wrong questions. So we confirmed our hypothesis with the service, and we said, let's build this product. So in June, like a month later, we sat down and we started coding. But we were smart, so we said, okay, like, let's not build a product and wait with go to market and with the launch. Let's go and try to sell it. So also in June, I started traveling to customers. My sales co-founder also went to customers, and we started selling it. And then we found the first customer. Like, we found the company who said, okay, I will take this POC that you've built like over 4 weeks. I will pay for it. They paid 12 months ahead. And they said, let's try it out. So we said, okay, we have the first customer after like 2 months of working in a product. We are amazing. It's great, like B2B customer. They're paying thousands. And let's try to find investors, right? And we were from the startup world. So we went to investors that we knew from the previous company. And they said, yeah, we will invest. So that was like the end of the chapter. After 12 months of building a startup, we got the first investment of 5,000 euro from investors in cash on your bank account. It's amazing, right? So then we went to the second chapter. We are great, like, oh my God, it's crazy. And it's a pretty short chapter, as you can see. Like, it started in February and ended up in September. Because then, after 6 months, it's the timeline that you have to spend 50,000 euro. So basically, that's the time that you will spend the whole money that you have. And it started up with the first thing. So we started drawing crazy graphs. Like, the value of the company, skyrocketing. Like, the revenue in the future, oh my God, it will be crazy. Number of customers, you cannot even count them. Like, it will be hundreds. And yeah, so we left our jobs that we found on the way to basically pay ourselves. We went on a full-time job to LightApply, paying ourselves salaries. We were like, yeah, we have a lot of money, like 50,000 euro on the bank account. When you started the company, like a couple of months before, paying in 500 euro is crazy, right? So we were like, nothing is gonna go wrong. We started really building the product. So we started investing a lot in the product. Didn't hire staff. We said we have such a good team that we will make it like in the 3 people team. And we also started taking really seriously the sales activities. And then we realized that we have closed the first customer in September. We spent already like pretty serious amount of money. And in June next year, so after 9 months, we didn't get the second one still. So it was still the first customer that paid for the product. And then we get the second one, but the smaller one, and again, nothing. And we were like, we are reaching out to like dozens of different companies. We are getting in talks. They're interested. They really want to buy the product. And after weeks of conversations, they are saying, no, we don't want it. So we said, okay, there has to be a problem in the sales process. So basically, we realized that we, first of all, are saying we are selling to HR departments in companies, but which companies? Like prospecting was a nightmare. Finding the right customers, we were talking to lawyers, we were talking to IT companies, we were talking to consulting companies, like everything out there. We had problems because like we had to always fight with competition. In HR market, there are dozens of Polish solutions. And if you look at the European ones, you have hundreds. And they are fighting on prices like crazy. They are getting like 10 euro per month, 8 euro per month, 7 euro per month per user. And you have to fight with them when you're running out of money, so it's pretty hard. And at the end, we have realized that we don't really know what we need to know to sell to these people. And we have realized that we don't know the market. We don't know the processes that our system needs to follow to fulfill the need. We don't know exactly like what they are using inside and what value we need to deliver. And at the end, we have realized that we didn't know who is buying because we were always talking to HR departments and they don't have money at all. CEO has money and CEO is not spending money on HR usually. So when they were coming and they were like, yeah, we found this super nice solution that is helping us to communicate with candidates which we don't want to hire and costs money, the CEO was like, so don't respond. What's the problem? So we have realized that, yeah, we got a problem. So in September, we went to our investors and we said, hey, it's a bit crazy. I know like we were drawing these crazy graphs, but I think we won't make it. Like we are not getting any money. We are not able to close the VC round. So we have two ways to go. One is that we are closing, and it's a shame. And the second one is that you invest more, and we will do something crazy. Like you can trust us. And they said, okay, let's try. They invested like 100,000 euro more, and they said, like, come up with an idea. So we started again, completely fresh, looking for an idea. And we really wanted to find the right way to go. So we said, okay, we have some product already built. So let's look for a market that we can take this product, we can maybe change it a bit, adjust it, and sell it to multiple companies. So we did a lot of research, talking to really like dozens of companies, sitting there for like days, talking to different users, CEOs, and so on. And we were looking for a segment that was having a problem. And we found a segment of temporary work agencies. So basically, a company that is hiring blue collars to send them to low-paying jobs, usually also seasonal and so on, low-qualified employees. And they are having tons of documentation. They have CVs, they have passports, they have some specific documentation, certificates, and so on. And they have to manage it. And rotation of employees is super fast. So they have to manage it, and they are doing it in paper right now. So we said, okay, we have already a system that helps you to recruit people. So we can help you to, at the end, open up the personal record and basically manage it in our system. But we said, okay, let's not start to build the product before we have customers. We did this mistake once. So we went to customers, we said, hey, this is what the product will be. Do you want to try it out? They said, okay, yes. So we found 10 customers which said, before we've built the product, that, hey, if you deliver this product, I will take it and test it for free for a couple of months, and I will tell you what is happening. So we started finding these POC customers in November. At the end of November, we sat down building the product. We are super fast in building products. So at the end of December, we already had the product MVP ready. In January, we started the POC phase. It took like 3 months until we found out that it's completely trash, and also that the market completely changed because the war in Ukraine started. And the legal perspectives of how you handle the documentation of employees changed completely. So we had to start again, another product, but with the same market, so it's much easier. And in October, we already had the product to go. So we said, okay, let's start sales activities. On the way, we've closed another investment round because we ran out of money, as usually startups do. But we said, hey, we have POC customers, some of them are already paying us, we have the product, we know the market, it will be great. We started in October, like serious sales activities. And it really took off. Like we started getting customers, they were starting to pay. We had thousands of employees' records in the database and so on. But the only way to close customers was to call them by phone or to email them. We tried everything to build like an organic movement of customers coming to our company. We tried LinkedIn automation, we tried ads, we tried doing webinars for customers. We tried to be the sponsor of the market events and so on. Nothing worked. Not a single customer came from these journeys. We had to send our asses and call the customers. I was calling 50, 40 customers every day. And the conversion rate from a call to a meeting, so not even a paying customer, but okay, show me the system, was about 2%. So you're sitting the whole day with a phone and one person says yes. And 50 others are like, stop calling me. I'm not interested. After 3 months of that, you really feel bad. Like you don't want to do it. So there is the second area of running a startup that is much easier and much nicer. It's all the things that I call the startup things. We were in the Google for Startups pre-acceleration program. We've won some pitch contests. We've won like 50,000 euro prize on the pitch contest. We were on multiple events for startups, like Web Summit in Lisbon, IT Expo in Miami, some events in Japan, and so on. We were not paying for them. We were always finding someone who was taking us with them, like, hey guys, show the product. It's super great, and so on. And as you can imagine, like not a single customer came from these events because they are startup events. They are not business events. So you're not finding customers. But it's super nice because everyone is saying, hey, it's great, right? It's really happening. So as you can imagine, again, we ended up with no money on the bank account after some months. But we had some paying customers and so on. And we have asked ourselves a question, like, is it even possible to pay back to investors? Up to this point, we got like 400,000 euro in investments from our investors, a couple of dozens of thousands in revenue that we've made with our customers. So pretty much a lot of money. Like on the way, we had some employees, they were letting go, like we had some rotation, but it was really like somehow happening. And then we said, like, is it even possible to follow this crazy graph that we drew like 2 years ago? Is it the market that we can make it? And the answer in our idea was no. So we went to our investors and we said again, hey, either we close or you stop believing that we will pay you back. And we won't take a single euro from you back, but we will make it a working company just from the revenue. So this is basically the phase that we are in right now. We are trying to monetize the company. We have a couple of thousands of euro every month of revenue. So we have some budget that is coming in, but we said to our investors, there is almost no chance that you will get back the investment that you've made in the company, but we hope to build a product that is super cool, and maybe at some point it will happen. But we cannot promise you that it will happen like usually angel investors are saying, yeah, 3 years from now, right? Like we don't know that. So basically it's really hard moment to say, hey guys, like we didn't make it. We really tried. Like on the way we did ourselves, like we did the best that we could, but we didn't make it. And we have some conclusions like out of that. It's not a failure. It's more like not a super successful startup story. But basically, Kasia said that. Like there is a product and there's sales. The first idea that we had, we went with the product. Like we tried with sales, but we went with the product. We've built a product that no one needed. Like we thought that we know what they need, but we didn't understand the need. And don't do it. Like don't build a product before you understand the need. Sell the product before it exists. So this is the first thing that you should do. Also, define the sales funnel from the very top to the very bottom. Like try to understand how you will get the prospects, who is the prospect, how you will convince them to look at the product, how you will convince them to try out the product, and how you will convince them to pay for the product. Because like if 1 point out of that won't work, then at the end, they won't pay you and you will run out of money. And at the end, the decision-making process on the customer side is something that we do not really think often, but it's something that is really messing up a lot of startups. We know the users, but we don't know the decision makers. And we need to understand that. So this is something to have in mind. The second lovely thing is startup activities. And I will go back to one startup activity in a second that is super cool. But most startup events and accelerators and pitch contests and meetups and networkings and anything like that won't bring you any value to the business. It will bring you the value to the personal brand. Like it's super cool to be known as a startup founder who is active in different communities and so on. And it's like really worth it. But if you are focusing on a business, it won't move you even a step forward usually. So it's really hard to get investors this way. In order to get investors, you have to have a great product and prove that it will take off. Like it won't make investors invest in you that you've won the pitch contest. It just means that you had a great pitch, right? And acceleration programs are great, but only if you don't know how to build a startup, because that's what they teach you. They don't give you money usually. They don't give you business contacts. They can give you some investor contacts. They teach you how to do the business. So if you've already done some of the things and you went through the way, like don't waste time on learning how to do the things that you know how to do. Like just do the things that you know how to do, and it's usually the hardest one. And at the end, fundraising, it's a full-time job. Like I've been fundraising over 4 years. Every day, I was talking to my investors and asking for more money. Like this 400,000, we got in about 8 rounds. So 8 times I had to go through the notary, through the lawyers, through the like negotiations, the company value and so on, and convincing them to put it. I won't count how many times I've been in the fundraising conversation with other investors. I did some statistics, and I've been in the direct contact already in talks with about 80 different VCs over these 4 years. And it takes a lot of time. Also, investors bring a lot of possibilities, but they expect to get back. So if you decide to go with investors, you have to know that it will be really hard to deliver what they expect, because expectations are super high. Like they expect you to grow 2 to 3 times a year. And like they don't count the first year because they hope that you will get to 1 million ARR in the first year. Like that's the starting point. And then 3, 3, 2, 2, 2. Like this is the expectation of investors. And at the end, I think Victor already said that, like money won't solve all the problems. Like it doesn't make any difference if you put 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. It won't make any difference if you do not do the other things correctly. Like you will simply spend the money. So it's really the biggest problem that you can do. And I think that these are my lessons from the 4 years. And this is mostly the reason why it didn't happen. Like we didn't understand many of these things on the way that we were in, and we spent the money on the wrong ones. So that was the reason. And before thank you, this is the one startup activity that I want to recommend. So this event is also like partnered with Incube, as Marcin said. And this is the only activity that really brought me any value over the 4 years. So I graduated from the first edition of the postgraduate studies that is being organized. And first of all, they are happening on weekends. mostly online, so it's really easy to get there, and you're not spending this whole time that you spend on events. But what is most important, you really get investors and founders in there. So if you have any problems in the startup, they can really help you to fix these problems. And I've built my pitch deck, I polished my product, I found some customers and so on, based on the conversations that I had there. So that was the only activity over the past 4 years that really brought any value, especially if you haven't been already a startup founder, because they really teach you how to do it. And it's not people from Incube, it's the founders that are having these companies which are valued at dozens of or hundreds of millions of zloty. So you get Woodpecker in there, you get Informatica founders, and you spend hours with them talking about your idea. So this is definitely the way to go. But yeah, I think it's the time for questions and pizza.
Thank you, Kuba. That was a fantastic presentation. I was sad when you said about the failures. I was happy when you said about the success. Thank you so much. It's a time for questions. Who would like to start? All right.
No, it's not. It's a great one, to be honest. Like, ask any startup founder that failed if it was worth it. Yeah, it was.
Thank you for opportunity, and I would like to ask about what was the most important things to build the trust for the investor to invest your idea, your startup project.
So first of all, we knew them before. So that was the first thing. They were connected with the startup that we were working in, and we knew them for like 4 years from board meetings. So we already had some trust in them. I asked them after the second investment, like, what was the main reason why you invested in us? And they said that it might seem funny, but the main reason was that we came prepared for each single meeting. And when they were coming up with some questions during the meeting, we had answers already prepared somewhere with some slides, with some graphics, or with some reports. So we predicted what they want to know, and we had the answers. And they said that this is the way for them to build a product, to know what are the problems before they happen.
Thank you.
Hi. Well, I don't have a question, but I would like to congratulate you for being very, 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 very brutally honest with everyone. Because startups is still a fashion statement when everyone likes to have a card with founder, CEO. It happens. I'm living here for more than 10 years and I've been observing all these things, but like, it takes to have a steel balls to come on the stage and discuss and show what is the reality. But I really appreciate it, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? We have a time for one question, please.
Yeah, we also have a time during the networking if someone has a question.
Okay, so Kuba is going to stay with us. Please catch him and catch.